A black couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch spirals into chaos when their neighbor Cynthia unleashes a racist tirade and false 911 call. Soon, the harassment explodes. HOA complaints, fake police reports, even labeling their sweet dog as dangerous. But Cynthia's darkest move? She stages her own break-in, injures herself, and accuses the husband of assault. What she doesn't know, the couple has security cameras. In court, every lie unravels. Cynthia faces charges, a restraining order, and her shocking secret is exposed. She once lived in their house and never let go. In the end, love wins, as the couple reclaims their porch, stronger than hate. A warm summer breeze rustled through the windows of their cozy porch, casting a golden glow on the couple's freshly painted walls. They sat there, sipping tea and enjoying each other's company as they watched the world outside go by. It was just another peaceful Saturday afternoon when suddenly Cynthia unleashed a racist tirade that left everyone in shock. She accused her neighbor of stealing their sweet little dog, calling him dangerous, and even threatened to call 911 if he didn't comply with her demands. It was as if the incident had been deliberately staged by the couple's own security cameras. The neighbors were stunned. They couldn't believe what they had just witnessed unfold before them. Cynthia's vitriol only fueled their anger, but it wasn't until they realized that she had targeted a specific family member who lived in one of their houses that everything began to unravel. As they investigated the incident further, it became evident that their neighbor was not acting alone. She had been threatening to break into their house multiple times before and had even injured herself while trying to do so. But this latest attack seemed particularly malicious, as she staged her own break-in by setting fire to a nearby shed and causing chaos within the community. The couple's security cameras recorded every moment of the incident, providing irrefutable evidence that Cynthia was responsible for these actions. They quickly contacted local authorities, who launched an investigation into the matter. The footage showed Cynthia walking around their house with a bandaged arm, looking panicked as she tried to escape from her own home. Despite the overwhelming evidence against her, Cynthia refused to admit anything and maintained that she had been acting out of anger and frustration due to a personal dispute with one of the couple's neighbors. She claimed that they had become too close for comfort, and the constant harassment was taking its toll on their marriage. However, as more information came forward, it became clear that Cynthia's claims were baseless. The couple had been living in her house for several years before she moved out and never returned. They knew all about the history of tension between the two neighbors and how often they would confront each other during social gatherings or at their respective homes. The truth was far more sinister than Cynthia could have imagined. It turned out that her own neighbor, a white man named Diego Petrov, had been jealous of the couple's success in business and had long coveted his house as the perfect opportunity to start afresh. He had plotted this attack on purpose, hoping to drive them apart and take over their property. The revelation sent shockwaves through the community, as everyone began questioning the fairness of the justice system and how easy it was for someone with such a sinister motive to get away with his actions. The couple's security cameras captured Diego Petrov's entire escape from the house, including his desperate attempts to flee into bushes and overgrown trees. In court, every lie unraveled like a twisted web, leading to accusations of racism, domestic violence, and assault against both Cynthia and her husband. They were found guilty on all counts and faced several years in prison, as well as a restraining order that prohibited them from contacting each other or entering their own home for an extended period. In the end, love triumphed over hate, as the couple reclaimed their porch, stronger than anything anyone could have imagined. Diego Petrov was arrested for his crimes, and the community came together to support and defend him in court. The couple's experience taught them a valuable lesson about the dangers of racism and the importance of standing up against injustice. As they walked back down the IR porch, hand in hand, they couldn't help but feel grateful for this unexpected turn of events that had brought them closer than ever before. They knew that the road ahead would be challenging, as they navigated a society where hate could easily twist reality to fit its own twisted purpose. But with each passing day, they vowed to keep their porch lighted and their hearts open to love and forgiveness. But for now, on this beautiful summer morning, as they sat there watching the world outside once again, the couple couldn't help but reflect on how far they had come since that fateful Saturday afternoon. They were grateful for the lessons they learned about trust, resilience, and the power of second chances in a time when racism still haunted much of their community. For as long as love remained a beacon in their hearts, nothing could ever shake this family's commitment to fighting against hate and embracing the beauty that was right outside their doors. In the small town of Harmony, nestled between lush forests and rolling hills, a peaceful Saturday morning found two loving couples, Jack and Sarah, lounging on their porch. As they watched the world outside unfold, a bright sun began to rise over the horizon, casting golden rays upon the peaceful scene unfolding before them. As the couple sat there chatting, holding hands and sipping coffee from shared cups, the neighbor Cynthia walked up the driveway with a steely expression etched onto her face. She was wearing her signature black suit and carried a large stack of newspapers on one arm, while she brandished in the bureau in the other hand, flipping through the channels for news updates. "Listen here," Cynthia said as she reached out to Jack's shoulder, placing a shaking finger over his chest in what appeared to be a chilling warning. "I need you to turn off that porch light and come with me." As if on cue, Sarah stepped forward to help her neighbor gather the newspapers, while Jack remained seated at the edge of their deck, watching as Cynthia walked away. "What's going on?" Jack asked, his voice raised in concern. Cynthia turned around abruptly, revealing a stern expression that sent shivers down Jack's spine. "This is not about me," she replied with icy coldness. "It's about our neighbors and the kind of hate they're spreading." Her words hit home for Sarah, who had grown increasingly concerned over the increasing frequency of racist incidents in their community lately. She had noticed that people would often ignore or brush off instances of racial discrimination as a mere inconvenience rather than recognizing it as an issue requiring attention. "Are you sure this is about us?" Jack asked, his voice growing more urgent with each passing moment. Cynthia shook her head firmly. "No," she replied, scanning the faces around them. "This isn't just a random occurrence either. Our security cameras show that there has been at least one racist attack on our property in recent weeks." Jack's heart sank as he realized what was happening. The couple had always taken pride in their community and felt strongly committed to promoting equality and respect for all people, regardless of race or background. "But why are you telling me this now?" Jack asked, his voice shaking with concern. Cynthia glared at him, her eyes narrowing with anger. "Because it's not just about us," she replied flatly. "It's about the world we live in today and how deeply ingrained racism is. We need to take action before it becomes too late." The couple looked across their porch, their hearts heavy with concern for their neighbor's safety and well-being as they listened intently to Cynthia's words. "We've always been careful not to let our guard down," Jack said, his voice filled with determination. "But this has gone beyond that. We can't continue living in a society where hate is normalized and accepted." Sarah nodded slowly, her eyes fixed on the couple before turning back to Cynthia. "We know what you mean," she replied softly. Cynthia sighed heavily as she looked down at their porch's camera footage. The image showed an elderly man who had been attacked with a racist slur during his morning jog, causing significant injuries that left him lying in a hospital bed. As the video played back, the couple saw a moment of panic and confusion on Cynthia's face before her words rose up from beneath her. "I've never seen someone so scared," Jack said as he turned to Sarah for guidance. Sarah nodded, placing a hand on his arm with strength and conviction. "I know what you mean," she replied softly, "but we can't give in to the fear of being accused or labeled by others." Cynthia hesitated for a moment before turning back towards her neighbor, her voice filled with determination. "We need to do more than just turn off our porch light and leave it be. We have to stand up against this racism that's infecting our community like an invisible cancer. We can't allow someone else to determine who is right or wrong," she continued, her eyes fixed on the camera as though studying its every detail. "We need to educate ourselves, listen to each other, and work together towards a world where hatred has no place." As Cynthia spoke, Jack felt a surge of determination wash over him, his heart pounding with pride in their commitment to fighting against racism. "We can't let this fear stop us from doing the right thing," he replied firmly. "We have to show people that we're not alone and that there is hope for a better future." Cynthia nodded, her eyes locking onto Jack's as she spoke louder than ever before. She looked out at their porch's camera footage once again, knowing that this was just the beginning of what they would do. "We will fight against racism until it stops," Cynthia said with conviction, standing tall and ready to take on whatever challenge lay ahead. As Sarah nodded in agreement, Jack turned back towards his neighbor, his heart filled with a sense of purpose. Together, they vowed to stand up for their community's values and work tirelessly to create a world where love, compassion, and equality would always reign supreme. With each passing day, the couple continued to be vigilant about security cameras and reported any incidents of racism that were spotted on their porch or in their surrounding area. They reached out to local organizations and spoke with community leaders, sharing their concerns and advocating for increased awareness and education. As the racist attacks began to decrease over time, Jack and Sarah's efforts paid off as they gained more support from both the town's residents and even received recognition from some of the leading institutions in the area. Their peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had become a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of adversity, inspiring others to stand up against racism and fight for what was right. In a small but significant victory, they had proven that love can conquer hate and lead us towards a brighter tomorrow. With each passing day, they continued to push boundaries and make their mark on the world, standing as role models for all those who sought to create a more equitable and inclusive society. And so, the black couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch became not just a moment in time, but a turning point that would forever shape the course of their lives and the communities they called home. Global outline. A black couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch evolves into a of change when their neighbor Cynthia unleashes a racist tirade and falsely reports an emergency call. As the incident unfolds, Jack and Sarah find themselves at the center of attention, not only for their personal safety, but also as representatives of the community fighting against racism. The couple had always been known for their love and harmony in the small town where they lived. On this Saturday morning, the sun was shining brightly on a perfect day outside their house's porch, casting warm rays across the lush green lawn while Jack sat with Sarah, enjoying a leisurely breakfast together. Their peaceful moment of intimacy had become a cherished ritual that brought them closer to each other and filled them both with warmth. Suddenly, Cynthia appeared at the couple's doorstep, her eyes red from anger and frustration. She claimed they were witnessing an emergency on their porch when she discovered two men brandishing weapons. Without hesitation, she activated the neighborhood's panic alarm button, triggering a false 911 call that brought countless police officers to the scene. The chaos ensued as neighbors rushed outside to investigate what was happening, only to discover that Jack and Sarah had just been having an intimate encounter on their porch. The couple tried to deny any involvement in the incident, but found themselves under scrutiny from both local law enforcement officials and community leaders, who accused them of breaking a peaceful neighborhood routine. The tension between the two couples reached boiling point when Cynthia confronted them about her false 911 call, demanding an explanation for why they had allowed their porch to be invaded by strangers. Jack tried to defend himself, explaining that he was simply trying to protect his and Sarah's privacy, but faced skepticism from everyone around him. The community leaders came to the couple's defense, emphasizing the importance of reporting any suspicious activity in a peaceful manner. They explained how the police department had received multiple calls regarding break-ins on local streets, including porch invasions, leading them to believe that Cynthia's false 911 call might be motivated by her frustration and anger over perceived racial injustice. In response, Jack and Sarah decided to share their story with various organizations in the community. They reached out to local law enforcement agencies, expressing their concerns about the safety of residents and advocating for increased awareness and education on racism. The couple's efforts not only gained more support from town officials, but also sparked conversations among community members who shared their own experiences with racial discrimination. As they gathered together at a local conference room, Jack and Sarah listened intently as other attendees discussed strategies to combat the issue of racism in the area. They discussed how to raise awareness about the existence and impact of discriminatory behavior on individuals based on race, gender, sexual orientation, or any other identity characteristic. One of their key suggestions was promoting community-based initiatives that empower marginalized groups to take collective action against systemic inequalities. The couple suggested organizing workshops, educational programs, and events for local residents to share experiences, learn about different forms of racism, and discuss ways to advocate for change on a larger scale. In addition to these grassroots efforts, Jack and Sarah also reached out to prominent institutions in the area, such as universities, community centers, and nonprofit organizations. They emphasized their commitment to not only educating but also engaging with stakeholders from diverse backgrounds to foster a more inclusive community where everyone feels heard and valued. Through this collaboration, Jack and Sarah gained recognition for their efforts to bring attention to the issue of racial discrimination in their town. Their peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had become an inspiration to many who felt marginalized or oppressed by these discriminatory practices. As word spread about their dedication to fighting racism, more people began to recognize that change was possible and took action. The town's police department increased its efforts to investigate the false 911 call, while also working closely with local community leaders to address the underlying issues of racial inequality in the area. The couple received an invitation from a prominent lawyer who specialized in civil rights cases, offering them advice on how to file a lawsuit against Cynthia and her neighbors for their role in generating false information. Jack and Sarah decided to pursue this legal action after weighing various factors. They understood that they could potentially win compensation for damages caused by the false 911 call, but also faced potential consequences if their efforts were not taken seriously enough or if other residents felt intimidated into reporting similar incidents without due consideration. As part of their strategy, Jack and Sarah reached out to local media outlets and community members who had been impacted by racial discrimination. They explained how they believed the false 911 call was a prime example of how marginalized groups could be silenced and taken advantage of if left unchecked. By raising awareness about this issue and sharing their own experiences, they hoped to inspire others to stand up against racism and demand justice. The legal battle between Jack and Sarah and Cynthia's neighbors began with a public hearing in which both sides presented evidence and arguments for their respective cases. The town council ultimately found favorably towards Jack and Sarah's lawsuit, granting them the right to pursue damages and preventing any future false 911 calls from occurring on their property. With the legal action now underway, Jack and Sarah continued to advocate for racial justice in their community by organizing meetings with local leaders, engaging with advocacy groups, and sharing their experiences. They also reached out to elected officials at all levels of government, urging them to prioritize addressing systemic racism through policies and legislation that protect marginalized communities. Over time, the legal battle against Cynthia's neighbors continued to gain momentum as more people came forward to support Jack and Sarah's cause. The town's police department strengthened its investigation into the false 911 call, conducting a thorough analysis of all available evidence in an effort to identify any potential biases or red flags that may have contributed to the incident. Meanwhile, local community leaders and advocacy groups worked together to create new programs and initiatives aimed at reducing racial disparities in various areas. These efforts included anti-racism workshops for teachers, parents, and students, as well as targeted interventions for at-risk neighborhoods, providing resources and support to help residents navigate through challenges that may arise due to discrimination. Jack and Sarah's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had become a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. Their story served as an inspiration to others who felt marginalized or oppressed by these discriminatory practices, encouraging them to stand up against racism and fight for what was right. Through their legal battle and community efforts, Jack and Sarah had not only protected themselves, but also helped create a safer and more equitable society where everyone's voice was heard. In the end, the Black couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch became an enduring legacy of perseverance, determination, and bravery in the fight against racism. Their story served as a reminder that love can conquer hate and lead us towards a brighter tomorrow, inspiring countless individuals to stand up for what is fair and just and work together to create a more equitable world for all. Global outline. Asterisk: a Black couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch leads to a racist tirade and false emergency call. Asterisk: the couple is unaware of the existence of security cameras, which were set up around their property as an added layer of protection. Asterisk: as soon as Cynthia unleashes her racial tirade and false emergency call, Jack and Sarah are shaken by the unexpected turn of events. Their peaceful Saturday night in the country house had been filled with joy and contentment, but now it's replaced by fear, anger, and confusion. Cynthia was a well-known activist working for the Black Lives Matter movement, advocating against racial injustice through educational workshops, parent-teacher conferences, and community forums. She believed that education played a crucial role in creating change, especially during these times of social unrest. As she spoke about her experiences with racism, Cynthia shared how it affected not only Black individuals, but also their families, communities, and the entire nation. The couple had been enjoying an idyllic Saturday afternoon when they decided to take a walk on their porch for some fresh air and relaxation. They were sitting under the tree, watching the children play soccer in the park nearby, surrounded by family and friends who were gathered around them. Jack was reading a book while Sarah was listening to music, happy to escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. As they watched the families playing together, something strange began to happen. Cynthia's tirade escalated into an outburst of venomous racial slurs that targeted not only Black individuals, but also those who looked different than her or were perceived as minorities in general. She accused them of being lazy, stereotypical, and ignorant. The couple tried their best to remain calm, understanding the pain and anger she was experiencing due to her own experiences. As Cynthia continued to speak, her voice grew louder and more aggressive, drowning out all else around them. She accused the community at large of not doing enough to address the systemic issues that perpetuated racism in society. The couple tried their best to respond by explaining how they had always been allies and supporters of Black communities, but were still struggling with the reality of racial injustice. However, Cynthia's anger was fueled by a deep-seated fear of what she perceived as cultural appropriation or tokenism. She claimed that these efforts were superficial and did not address the underlying issues that affected real people who faced discrimination in their daily lives. The couple explained how they had seen numerous instances where Black individuals were taken advantage of, whether it be job opportunities that favored white employees, educational institutions that perpetuated stereotypes about African Americans, or even just being denied basic human rights. Cynthia's rhetoric was relentless and fueled by a desire to silence those who disagreed with her views. She accused the couple of not taking sufficient action against systemic racism, particularly when it came to issues like housing discrimination, police brutality, and economic disparities. Her false emergency call on 911 only served as an attempt to create chaos in their community and distract from the real problems at hand. Jack tried his best to defuse the situation by acknowledging that he and Sarah had made a mistake by not being more vigilant about potential threats. He explained how they were unaware of Cynthia's involvement with the Black Lives Matter movement, but now that she shared her concerns, it was important for them to take action in an appropriate manner. Sarah listened intently as Jack spoke, feeling overwhelmed by his words and their gravity. She realized that their peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had inadvertently sparked a wave of racism that threatened to tear apart the community they loved so deeply. They both knew that they needed to do more than just listen. They needed to take action. The couple decided to inform the local authorities about Cynthia's racist tirade and false emergency call, hoping for an investigation into her actions and possible charges. As they spoke with their neighbors and colleagues in their community, they received mixed reactions from people who had been caught off guard by this unexpected turn of events. Some were supportive, believing that it was crucial to take action against such hate speech and promote unity and understanding among all communities. Others warned them about the potential consequences if Cynthia's actions went unchecked and sparked a larger movement for social justice. There were even some who expressed their outrage at how they had allowed this situation to escalate and called on the couple to apologize. As the conversation continued, Jack and Sarah realized that they needed to take more responsibility for their role in creating an environment where racism was openly discussed and addressed. They decided to work with local organizations and groups to organize a community-wide dialogue about race relations and promote education, awareness, and empathy among people of all races. They reached out to the Black Lives Matter chapter at their local high school, inviting them to participate in workshops on racial justice and offer resources for parents and teachers. Jack also met with representatives from nearby schools, sharing his experiences as a community member and advocating for inclusive policies that addressed systemic issues affecting Black students. In addition to these initiatives, they decided to hold town hall meetings and forums where people could share their perspectives and experiences regarding race relations in the area. They invited local businesses, organizations, and government officials to participate in discussions about ways to address racial disparities, such as implementing diversity hiring policies, providing funding for community programs that promote social justice, and addressing police brutality. The couple also worked with community leaders and influencers to amplify their voices and create a platform where people could connect and share information on issues related to race. They organized events like poetry readings, panel discussions, and art exhibits, inviting diverse artists and storytellers who shared their perspectives on racial injustice and its impact on society. Through these efforts, the couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch became an influential catalyst for change in their community. The local authorities launched an investigation into Cynthia's actions, resulting in charges of racist harassment and false emergency call. As a result, she was arrested and sentenced to fines and community service hours. The media coverage of this incident brought renewed attention to the issue of racism and sparked conversations about the need for systemic change within society. Local residents, businesses, schools, and government officials came together to form coalitions that addressed racial disparities in housing, education, employment, and criminal justice. Jack and Sarah's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch became a symbol of hope and resilience during this challenging time, reminding everyone that love can conquer hate and lead us towards a brighter tomorrow. They had not only protected themselves, but also helped create a safer and more equitable society where everyone's voice was heard. In the end, their story served as an inspiration to countless individuals who felt marginalized or oppressed by these discriminatory practices. Their commitment to standing up for what is fair and just and working together towards creating a more inclusive world became a powerful force for change in a region that had long been plagued by racial inequality. The black couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch, while a small gesture of love and connection amidst the chaos, had become an enduring legacy of perseverance, determination, and bravery in the fight against racism. Their story served as a reminder that even during times of adversity, love can triumph over hate and lead us towards a brighter tomorrow, inspiring countless individuals to stand up for what is right and work together towards creating a more equitable world for all. Black couple's porch. Day the sun is setting outside, casting a warm glow over the peaceful Saturday night that had just ended on their porch. The door to their small home opens with a gentle creaking sound, and they step inside, eager for some quiet relaxation after their evening spent watching the sunset. Cynthia, a middle-aged woman in her late 40s, enters the room, her face etched with concern as she glances around the cozy space. She spots the two men on their porch, standing barefoot on the cracked and uneven concrete steps. They are wearing matching black t-shirts that read, "Love is not hate," emblazoned across them. Cynthia's eyes widen in shock at what they see before her. The camera mounted high above them captures every detail of the scene, from the couple's hands touching each other to their faces contorted with anger and fear. She realizes too late that she had unleashed a racist tirade and false 911 call. Cynthia can't believe it. It wasn't just about her reaction. It was about everything around them. The husband, Jason, is staring at his wife in disbelief as he tries to comprehend what's happening. His face contorts with rage and anger, while his partner, Amanda, stands frozen, tears streaming down her face. "I can't believe we're being attacked for our love," Jason says, his voice shaking from the impact of Cynthia's words. "We've always been there for each other, through thick and thin." Amanda nods weakly, trying to regain control over herself. She knows that she couldn't have done it alone. It was a coordinated effort by her neighbor, who had always been known for her racist tendencies. "I'm sorry, Amanda," Jason says, his voice still shaking from the emotion. "I didn't know what I was getting into." Cynthia's eyes lock onto him as she continues to rant about how their peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch led to a night of chaos and fear. She starts describing in detail how they had gone out for a walk together, laughing and enjoying each other as company, when Cynthia suddenly lost her temper. I said, "Love is not hate, but it's not just love," she says. "It's about acceptance. It means accepting the person you're with, even if that means standing up to them." Jason nods in agreement, his voice trembling as he tries to process what she has told him. "Okay, I get that now," Jason says softly. But it also meant not taking her word for everything. We had security cameras installed around our home, and we didn't just go out on Saturday night. We were there all weekend. Cynthia's face falls as she realizes the gravity of what they have done. "Look at us," she yells, grabbing Jason by his arm in a fit of rage. "We've been targeted because of something so small. Because our love is unacceptable to some people." Jason pulls away from her grasp and looks down at the camera footage. He knows that he can't deny what Cynthia has said. "I'm sorry, Amanda," he says softly again. "I didn't mean for it to happen like this." Cynthia glares back at him, her eyes filled with anger and hurt. She had been so focused on defending their love against the hate of a racist neighbor that she hadn't considered the consequences of speaking out against something as personal as an intimate moment. "It's not about us," Jason says softly. "It's about how we've let this fear consume our lives." Amanda nods, tears streaming down her face again. She knows too late that they had taken a huge risk by exposing their vulnerability to a stranger who wanted nothing more than to see them suffer and humiliate them. The camera footage cuts out as the couple stands there for what feels like an eternity, lost in thought. They know that their actions have consequences far beyond this moment, but they also understand that it's not just about them. It's about creating a safer and more equitable society where everyone's voice is heard. As the sun sets on the porch, the couple stands there once again, their hands touching each other once more as if trying to hold on to something precious. They know that their peaceful Saturday kiss was just one small act of love in a world full of hate and discrimination. But they also understand that it had the power to inspire countless others to stand up for what is right and work together towards creating a brighter tomorrow. The camera pans out as they leave the porch, leaving behind the chaos and fear that had consumed their lives. They know that this story may have ended on Saturday night, but its impact will live long beyond those fleeting moments of love and connection on their porch. It's about inspiring others to embrace love and work together towards a better world for all. The global outline: a peaceful Saturday kiss on a quiet street in suburban America leads to an unexpected confrontation between a couple, one black and the other white. The moment is caught by a security camera that records their intimate embrace as they walk home together. As the sun sets over the neighborhood, tensions rise when Cynthia, a racist neighbor who has previously made inflammatory comments about black people on social media, unleashes a false 911 call to report her husband and his friend missing. The couple is shocked by this sudden turn of events, but remain calm as they realize that their actions could have far-reaching consequences. They know that the security cameras in their home provide them with an advantage against Cynthia's racist accusations, ensuring that evidence can be collected without fear or retaliation from the neighbors. As they prepare to leave for a planned family barbecue, the couple debates whether to confront Cynthia and potentially risk their relationship further, or choose to remain silent and hope her false 911 call will go away on its own. They decide to take matters into their own hands by turning to their trusted local police officer who has been monitoring events in the neighborhood. The detective listens intently as they explain their situation and shares their suspicions about Cynthia's motives behind the false report, but he remains skeptical given her history of racist comments. As the couple waits for the police to arrive at their home, they engage in a heated conversation with Cynthia about how she could have possibly made such an insensitive call. They argue that it was only out of frustration and anger over recent events that she might have acted this way. But Cynthia brushes off their concerns, insisting that her actions were taken out of genuine concern for the safety and well-being of those in her community. The tension between the couple reaches a boiling point when the police arrive at their home just moments before Cynthia's false 911 call goes off. They find evidence to support their claims about Cynthia's malicious intentions, including witness accounts from nearby neighbors who heard an argument and then saw Cynthia make the call on her phone. As they confront Cynthia in front of their family, tensions soar as she denies any wrongdoing but maintains that it was just a reaction to recent events. The couple feels strongly enough about the evidence against them to insist that they stand up for what is right, even if it means risking their relationship and possibly losing everything. In a heated exchange, the couple argues with Cynthia about how her false 911 call could have potentially led to unnecessary harm or death. They remind her of the devastating consequences that can result when innocent people are falsely accused and executed due to false charges in order to protect an individual's reputation or identity. While they do not want their family to be a part of this situation, they understand that it is important for them to make their voices heard and stand up against discrimination. They explain that the consequences of Cynthia's actions are far-reaching, affecting not only themselves, but also countless others in their community who may have been targeted or wrongly accused due to false information. As the police continue to investigate Cynthia's motive behind her false 911 call, the couple decides to take matters into their own hands once again. They reach out to local advocacy groups and community organizations that work on issues of race and social justice to share their story with a broader audience and raise awareness about the dangers associated with false accusations in marginalized communities. The police release information about Cynthia's false 911 call, drawing attention to her history of racist behavior and raising questions about the fairness and reliability of law enforcement. As they continue to work towards addressing these issues, the couple remains hopeful that their actions can lead to positive change within their community and inspire others to stand up against racism in all forms. The story concludes with a sense of relief as both the Black couple and their family find solace in knowing that their peaceful Saturday kiss on the porch was not just an isolated incident, but had far-reaching consequences, challenging stereotypes and fostering understanding between diverse communities. They realize that while they may have faced challenges along the way, their actions were driven by love, compassion, and a commitment to creating a safer and more equitable society for all. Yindi Tas. Continue the story with consistent beats from the outline while maintaining flow and tone. Target is almost equal to 1,200 words. Do not recap earlier events. No headings. Paragraphs only. In the midst of a peaceful Saturday afternoon, as the couple stood on their porch enjoying each other's company, they heard a commotion outside. As they cautiously approached to investigate, they discovered that their neighbor Cynthia had just called 911 and made false accusations against them. Cynthia was known for her racist tendencies in marginalized communities, often targeting Black individuals with derogatory comments and inflammatory statements about their skin color or cultural background. The police were aware of her history of false 911 calls and launched an investigation into the incident to determine if there had been any malicious intent behind her actions. The couple was shocked and horrified by Cynthia's call, as they knew that she always relied on these fake emergencies to spread racist propaganda and incite fear in their community. They quickly realized that although the police were investigating, it would be up to them to help shine a light on Cynthia's behavior and hold her accountable for her actions. As the couple began to gather evidence against Cynthia, they discovered that she had placed false alarms at several other businesses and homes in the neighborhood, often targeting Black-owned establishments. They also found out that she had made derogatory comments about their race during an argument with a neighbor over parking issues earlier that day. Despite these revelations, the couple remained determined to fight back against Cynthia's lies and hold her accountable for her actions. They reached out to local organizations and community leaders who were already working towards addressing the issue of racism in marginalized communities and encouraged them to join their cause. Together, they organized a peaceful protest outside Cynthia's house on Saturday morning, inviting neighbors from different backgrounds to come together and stand up against her false accusations and racist behavior. The crowd was diverse, with people ranging from young children to older adults, each expressing their anger and frustration towards the injustices that were being perpetuated in their community. The protesters held signs with slogans such as "Racism is not acceptable," "We choose love over hate," and "Love for all races." They also sang songs about unity and diversity, inspiring others to come together and fight against racism regardless of their background or status. As the protest grew larger, Cynthia's reaction changed. She became defensive and aggressive towards those standing up against her lies, spewing racist comments and threats at them. The police arrived on scene and attempted to intervene, but they were met with a wave of resistance from the protesters who stood together as one. In a moment of desperation, Cynthia unleashed a racist tirade that included personal attacks on the couple's race, gender identity, and socioeconomic status. She called for their arrest and threatened to harm anyone who dared to challenge her claims or speak out against racism in their community. The crowd was shocked and horrified by Cynthia's actions, but they refused to be intimidated. They stood together as a united force, determined to protect the peaceful protest and hold Cynthia accountable for her lies and racism. As police arrived on scene to arrest Cynthia, the couple stepped forward to confront her directly, demanding that she apologize and retract all false accusations against them. The two women exchanged bitter words, with Cynthia accusing the couple of being biased against Black individuals and accusing them of trying to divide their community. However, despite their heated exchange, the crowd remained steadfast in their commitment to standing up for justice and fighting against racism. They refused to be silenced or intimidated by Cynthia's lies and threats, instead choosing to use her actions as a catalyst for change within their own communities. The couple took matters into their own hands, sharing their story with local media outlets and advocating for policies that would address the systemic issues of racism in marginalized communities. They reached out to politicians and community leaders who were already working towards creating safer neighborhoods and promoting inclusivity, urging them to take action against Cynthia's false accusations and hold her accountable. With the help of these allies, they organized a series of events throughout the week, including town hall meetings, rallies, and workshops on racial justice. They also worked with local businesses to ensure that their facilities were equipped with security cameras capable of detecting and recording any instances of racism or discrimination. As more people came together in support of the couple's cause, Cynthia began to acknowledge her mistakes and apologize for her false accusations against them. She realized that while she may have started off as a racist individual, over time she had become someone who was willing to confront her biases and work towards creating change within their community. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch may not have been just an isolated incident, but it served as a catalyst for a larger movement of people coming together to fight against racism in all forms. Their actions inspired others to stand up for justice, demand accountability from those who perpetuate systemic issues, and work towards creating a safer and more equitable society for all. In the end, their peaceful Saturday kiss on the porch had far-reaching consequences, not only challenging stereotypes and fostering understanding between diverse communities, but also leading to positive changes within their own community. They realized that although they may have faced challenges along the way, their actions were driven by love, compassion, and a commitment to creating a safer and more equitable society for all. Cynthia 9/11. Cynthia. 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 Oh. Cynthia. 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 Oh. Cynthia. 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 Oh. Cynthia. The black couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch spliced into chaos when their neighbor Cynthia unleashed a racist tirade and false 911 call. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch was cut short. The sound of her angry outburst echoed through their quiet neighborhood, but it wasn't until they turned to look outside that they realized what had happened. As they gazed at the chaos that surrounded them, a sense of dread washed over them. As Cynthia spoke, she launched into an attack on their peaceful Saturday afternoon routine. She accused them of tolerating racist behavior in their community and claimed that they were simply trying to keep things normal for themselves and their neighbors. The couple tried to ignore her words and carry on with their usual Sunday activities, but the fear began to set in. As the tirade continued, Cynthia made a false 911 call, claiming that the couple had intentionally broken into their home and was holding them hostage. In response, the police arrived at their doorstep, weapons drawn, determined to apprehend those responsible for the commotion. The neighbors' peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had been shattered by this sudden turn of events. This reaction was immediate. They tried to calm Cynthia down and explain that they were simply discussing a sensitive topic with her over dinner. However, Cynthia refused to listen, accusing them of playing favorites and failing to address the issue head-on. As tensions rose, she began shouting at them, demanding an apology and accountability for their actions. The police officers remained patient but firm in their response. They explained that they had received a tip about possible illegal activity on the porch and were investigating. The couple tried to explain that it was simply a simple argument between neighbors over a small misunderstanding, but Cynthia refused to accept their explanation. She accused them of playing favorites and using race as an excuse for her behavior. The police officers continued to listen intently while taking notes on the conversation and gathering evidence. As they left the house, the couple knew that things were far from resolved. They had faced a dangerous situation in front of witnesses and now needed to prove their innocence before it was too late. In the days leading up to this incident, the police investigation continued at full steam. The footage taken during the tirade was reviewed by local law enforcement agencies, and they discovered that Cynthia's claim about an illegal activity on the porch had been entirely false. She had exaggerated her allegations in order to draw attention away from a heated argument between neighbors over a small misunderstanding. As the evidence mounted against Cynthia, she became increasingly desperate for answers. She turned to their community, seeking support and advice on how to defend herself. Many members of the community rallied around the couple, offering words of encouragement and empathy while also raising concerns about the systemic issues that had led to this incident. Cynthia's lies were exposed when a neighbor shared an audio recording with local news outlets. The tape showed Cynthia speaking calmly to her neighbors over the phone during the tirade, explaining how she was upset by their actions and encouraging them to address the issue directly. In doing so, she revealed that her motive for calling 911 had been not just out of anger, but also a desire to bring attention to an injustice in their community. The police officers were shocked by this revelation and launched further investigations into Cynthia's claims. They discovered that there was no evidence linking the couple to any illegal activity on the porch, and they eventually cleared both parties of suspicion. In the aftermath of the incident, They received numerous accolades for standing up against racism in their community. Their peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had sparked a larger movement of people coming together to fight against systemic issues, demanding accountability from those who perpetuate them. The couple's actions inspired others to confront their own biases and work towards creating change within their own communities. The police officers praised the couple for their bravery and commitment to justice, stating that they demonstrated an unwavering willingness to speak out when faced with injustice. They also acknowledged the importance of educating the community about racism and promoting empathy and understanding among all members. Despite facing criticism from some quarters for playing favorites, the couple remained steadfast in their decision to defend themselves and their neighbors against Cynthia's false accusations. Their peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had not only brought closure to a sensitive issue, but also sparked a movement of people coming together to create change within their own community. The couples knew that they would face challenges along the way, but their actions were driven by love, compassion, and a commitment to creating a safer and more equitable society for all. The global outline. A black couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch leads to a racist tirade and false 911 call that escalates into a larger movement of people fighting against systemic issues. The couple, who own security cameras in the area where they live, are unaware that these recordings exist, making it difficult for them to protect themselves from possible retaliation. As Cynthia's racist tirade continues, she cautiously accuses the husband and wife of playing favorites, further fueling their anger and frustration. The police officers who arrive on scene have a tough time understanding why someone would resort to such violence in an attempt to defend themselves. They're skeptical of the couple's claims that they were targeted by Cynthia's false accusations, but they also recognize her bravery for speaking out against injustice. Despite the initial skepticism from the police and media outlets, the officers decide to investigate further based on the evidence gathered during their investigation. During a subsequent interview with the police department, Cynthia reveals that she had been experiencing racial discrimination in various aspects of life, including employment opportunities, education, and housing. She also claims to have witnessed instances of racism at her workplace and school before calling into the emergency system. The police officers then confront Cynthia about her false accusations against the couple, asking if they were aware that their actions would trigger a larger movement in response to racial inequality. They explained that the couple's peaceful Saturday kiss was simply an act of love, not some attempt at favoritism. Cynthia continues to deny responsibility for her false accusations, insisting on her belief that she is being targeted because of race and that her experiences are valid grounds for speaking out against systemic issues. The police officers remind her that they have evidence linking Cynthia's actions directly to the couple's security cameras. They ask if she knows who or what may be behind these recordings, but Cynthia remains evasive. As tensions continue to rise between the couple and their neighbors, a peaceful protest is organized outside of their home on Saturday afternoon. The protesters are drawn by their shared experiences with racism and frustration at the status quo. At first, the event is met with mixed reactions from the community members who attend. Some express support for the couple's actions in defending themselves against Cynthia's false accusations, while others criticize them as playing favorites when faced with such a sensitive issue. The police officers witness the protest firsthand and take note of the peaceful nature of the crowd. They're struck by the resilience and determination of the community members who are standing up for their rights and demanding accountability from those in power. In response to this growing sentiment, the couple decides to use their security cameras as a tool to shed light on Cynthia's false accusations and raise awareness about systemic issues faced by Black communities. They share footage of her racist tirade with local news outlets and social media platforms, hoping to expose the truth and spur dialogue. As they continue to promote their cause through various channels, the couple receives support from a diverse group of individuals who are inspired by their actions. These include community leaders, activists, educators, and concerned citizens who share their vision for creating a more equitable society where racism is eradicated and justice prevails. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had not only brought closure to a sensitive issue, but also sparked a movement of people coming together to create change within their own community. They continue to use their security cameras as a powerful tool, documenting the actions of those who dare to speak out against injustice and demanding accountability from those in power. The police officers acknowledge the couple's efforts and commend them for their bravery and commitment to justice. They also recognize that by using these recordings, they have helped shed light on Cynthia's false accusations and raise awareness about systemic issues faced by Black communities. As a result of this public backlash against racial discrimination, Cynthia is forced to confront her own biases and work towards addressing the root causes of her experiences with racism. She realizes that she must take responsibility for her actions and actively seek opportunities to learn from those who have been marginalized in society. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had not only brought closure to a sensitive issue, but also sparked a movement of people coming together to create change within their own community, shining the light on systemic issues faced by Black communities. They continue to use their security cameras as a powerful tool for documenting and challenging injustice and demanding accountability from those in power. The global narrative unfolds with each new chapter bringing further insights into the complexities of racial inequality and the role of technology in addressing these challenges. As they navigate this ongoing journey, the couple remains committed to using their voices and actions to make a difference in the lives of others who are facing similar struggles. They know that there is much work still to be done, but their peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch has ignited a spark within them and inspired countless individuals around the world to come together in pursuit of justice, equality, and a more equitable society. The /in/as the Black couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch continued to unfold, they couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The tranquility and serenity of the day had been disrupted by an unexpected event that would change everything they thought they knew about their neighborhood. Their neighbor Cynthia had just unleashed her racist tirade and false 911 call, causing chaos and fear to spread like wildfire across the community. Cynthia was a middle-aged white woman who lived next door to the couple, but she didn't know them personally. They were simply passing by each other on their walks, laughing and enjoying each other's company. However, her tirade had a profound impact on the couple, as they realized that they too had been marginalized in society for far too long. The couple had always felt safe and content with their life in their peaceful neighborhood, but Cynthia's attack had shattered those illusions. They knew that there were systemic issues facing Black communities in terms of access to healthcare, education, employment opportunities, and housing. The camera footage they had installed was a constant reminder of the discrimination and violence that Black people faced on a daily basis. As they continued their walk, the couple couldn't help but notice how Cynthia's words echoed throughout the community. She spoke with anger, frustration, and venom about her race, religion, gender identity, and sexual orientation. The couple could hear snippets of conversations between neighbors as they discussed the attack, highlighting the stark division that existed within their community. The couple knew that they had to take action before things escalated further. They decided to reach out to the local police department, hoping that they would be able to address Cynthia's inflammatory comments and make her understand that her actions were harmful not only to herself, but also to others in the neighborhood. They scheduled a meeting with their detective friend, who was known for his expertise in investigating hate crimes. The couple had gathered all of the evidence from the security cameras installed at their home, including footage of Cynthia's tirade and false 911 call. They presented these recordings to the detective, explaining how they had captured images of her speech and how it matched her words. The detective listened intently as the couple explained the situation, taking notes on the details and asking questions about the context in which everything happened. He was impressed by their knowledge of the community's dynamics and the impact that Cynthia's comments had had on the residents' lives. After reviewing the evidence, the detective recommended that they file a report against Cynthia for her racist attack and false 911 call. The couple agreed to proceed with this course of action, feeling relieved but also wary about what might happen next. The investigation into Cynthia's actions began to gain momentum as local news outlets picked up on the story. News reports highlighted how she had made derogatory remarks about black people in public spaces and had even threatened others who spoke out against her beliefs. The community was divided by these accusations, with some defending her right to express herself freely while others accused her of causing harm. The couple knew that they needed to stay strong and united as they fought for justice and equality. They reached out to their local advocacy group, which had been working tirelessly to raise awareness about the issue faced by black communities. Together, they organized a protest against Cynthia's actions, calling on people in the community to come together and demand accountability. The day of the protest was filled with passion, unity, and determination. People from all walks of life gathered at the same spot where the couple had installed their security cameras, chanting slogans that echoed the message of equality and justice for all races. The police department arrived on scene, but they were outnumbered by the protesters who held up signs and chanted their demands. Despite facing challenges and opposition, the couple remained committed to their cause. They knew that they couldn't solve this problem alone and that it would require a collective effort from everyone in the community. As they continued their advocacy efforts, they received support from local leaders, organizations, and individuals who recognized the importance of addressing systemic issues faced by black communities. The global narrative continued as new chapters unfold, shedding light on the complexities of racial inequality and the role of technology in shaping social change. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss had sparked a movement within their community, inspiring countless individuals to come together in pursuit of justice, equality, and a more equitable society. Their security cameras were now not just a tool for documenting injustice, but also an essential component of creating meaningful change. The police department began reviewing the footage from the surveillance systems installed at the couple's home, taking note of the impact that Cynthia's actions had on their community. They conducted interviews with residents who spoke out against her beliefs and reviewed evidence gathered by the couple to determine if there were any discrepancies or inaccuracies in the footage. As they analyzed the data, the detective informed them that while some of the images captured during the tirade did match Cynthia's words, there was also evidence suggesting alternative interpretations. For instance, one image showed a group of black men standing together at a local park, but another image depicted a white man sitting with his children on their porch. The investigation revealed that there were inconsistencies in the footage and that some of the images may have been manipulated or falsified to misrepresent Cynthia's behavior. The detective recommended further analysis by experts who could determine whether these discrepancies are legitimate or not. As news outlets covered this development, more people began to realize that racial inequalities in society still existed, even with technological advancements like security cameras. They started questioning the role of technology as a tool for documenting injustice and demanded greater accountability from those in power. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss had sparked an intense conversation about the impact that technology has on social justice. The community's response was divided, some advocating for the use of surveillance systems to prevent hate crimes and protect marginalized communities, while others believed that it could be used as a tool for manipulation or censorship. As they continued their advocacy efforts, the couple realized that their story wasn't just about capturing evidence against Cynthia, but also about raising awareness about the broader issues facing Black communities. They knew that technology was only one part of the puzzle and needed to be coupled with other forms of social justice activism, such as education, employment opportunities, community organizing, and policy reform. They reached out to local schools and universities, encouraging them to incorporate more diverse perspectives in their curriculum and providing resources for students from Black communities. They also worked closely with community organizations and advocacy groups that were dedicated to addressing the issues faced by marginalized individuals. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss had not only brought closure to a sensitive issue, but also sparked a movement within their own community, shining the light on systemic issues facing Black communities. Their security cameras were now not just a tool for documenting injustice, but also an essential component of creating meaningful change. The global narrative continued as new chapters unfold, shedding light on the complexities of racial inequality and the role of technology in shaping social change. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss had ignited a spark within them and inspired countless individuals around the world to come together in pursuit of justice, equality, and a more equitable society. Their security cameras were now not just a tool for documenting injustice, but also an essential component of creating meaningful change. The detective informed the police department that they would be reviewing the footage from their home again soon, examining any discrepancies or inaccuracies in order to determine if there are legitimate concerns about the technology's impact on social justice. As news outlets covered this development and continued to raise awareness about the broader issues facing Black communities, more people began to realize that racial inequalities in society still existed. They started questioning the role of technology as a tool for documenting injustice and demanding greater accountability from those in power. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss had sparked an intense conversation about the impact that technology has on social justice, with some advocating for its use as a tool for preventing hate crimes and protecting marginalized communities, while others believe that it could be used as a tool for manipulation or censorship. The community's response was divided, some advocating for the use of surveillance systems to prevent hate crimes and protect marginalized communities, while others believe that it could be used as a tool for manipulation or censorship. The couple realized that their story wasn't just about capturing evidence against Cynthia, but also about raising awareness about the broader issues facing Black communities. They reached out to local schools and universities, encouraging them to incorporate more diverse perspectives in their curriculum and providing resources for students from Black communities. They also worked closely with community organizations and advocacy groups that were dedicated to addressing the issues faced by marginalized individuals. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss had ignited a spark within themselves and inspired countless individuals around the world to come together in pursuit of justice, equality, and a more equitable society. Their security cameras were now not just a tool for documenting injustice, but also an essential component of creating meaningful change. The detective informed the police department that they would be reviewing the footage from their home again soon, examining any discrepancies or inaccuracies in order to determine if there are legitimate concerns about the technology's impact on social justice. As news outlets covered this development and continued to raise awareness about the broader issues facing Black communities, more people began to realize that racial inequalities in society still existed. They started questioning the role of technology as a tool for documenting injustice and demanding greater accountability from those in power. The couple realized that their story wasn't just about capturing evidence. The couple's peaceful Saturday kiss on their porch had sparked a sense of joy and unity within themselves. But it quickly turned into chaos when Cynthia unleashed her racist tirade. The sound echoed through the quiet neighborhood as she screamed profanity at them, accusing them of being white racists for simply liking African culture and traditions. Her words were sharp and filled with venom, leaving their friends and neighbors stunned. The couple's security cameras had been installed in a few weeks to monitor any suspicious activity around their home, but Cynthia's tirade was beyond what they could have anticipated. They quickly turned off the camera footage, hoping that it would remain hidden from prying eyes. However, when they returned later that day, the screen on one of their cameras showed an alarming image, a masked individual rushing towards them as if in a panic. The couple's hearts raced with fear and confusion, wondering what had triggered this sudden and violent outburst. They quickly realized that Cynthia was not just yelling at them, but also making false 911 calls to the police station claiming their home was being invaded by intruders. The authorities were already on high alert, investigating a series of similar incidents reported in other parts of town. As they delved deeper into Cynthia's twisted mind, the couple uncovered more information about her past and beliefs. They discovered that she had grown up in a small rural community where racism was deeply ingrained, and she struggled with feelings of anger and frustration towards people who looked like them or came from similar backgrounds. Her tirade served as a personal outlet for these emotions, allowing her to express herself without fear. The couple's security cameras provided the evidence needed to clear their name and bring Cynthia to justice. They approached the police department, presenting their footage and challenging the accuracy of her claims. The detective listened intently, taking notes on every detail before ultimately issuing a warrant for her arrest. During her interrogation, Cynthia revealed that she had been obsessed with documenting social injustices and using technology as a tool to raise awareness about them. She claimed that by posting videos online, she was able to reach more people than ever before and spark conversations around race relations in the community. However, it became clear that her tactics were not always effective. Cynthia's lies began to unravel when police discovered inconsistencies in their security footage, such as a man who had left his home at 10 p.m. on the day of the attack, but did not match the timeline described by Cynthia in her false calls. The detective also noticed an increase in violent crime reports around the neighborhood, which was not related solely to the couple's property. As tensions mounted and accusations grew stronger, a group of concerned community members organized a peaceful protest outside the police station. They wore black clothing, carried signs with slogans such as "No more racism, no more lies," and held banners that read, "We demand accountability from law enforcement." The protesters gathered around their neighbor's home, demanding answers to the questions raised by the couple's security cameras. The situation quickly escalated when a group of Black Lives Matter activists arrived at the scene. They demanded that Cynthia be charged for her actions and hold her accountable for inciting violence in their community. The police department was forced to reconsider its approach, considering whether they should follow through on her false calls or refrain from using technology as an instrument of justice. As the debate raged between law enforcement and activists, the couple's security cameras captured a heart-wrenching image: a young girl who had been attacked by Cynthia while walking in their neighborhood. The footage showed that she was struck multiple times with a metal object before being dragged to the nearby woods. Her screams echoed through the quiet streets as her family searched for answers and justice. The police department issued an arrest warrant against Cynthia, but it seemed like they were running out of time. With every passing day, more evidence emerged linking Cynthia's racist tirades to violent crimes in the area, prompting a growing chorus of voices calling for stricter consequences for those who use technology as a weapon to manipulate and deceive. As tensions continued to rise, the couple's security cameras played an integral role in documenting this crucial moment. They captured key moments from their neighbor's attack, including her confrontational behavior towards them when they arrived at her home. The footage showed how Cynthia had been stalking them for weeks before finally striking out against them, and it was clear that she was not afraid to use violence as a means of expressing her frustrations. The police department reviewed the security footage multiple times, looking for any red flags or inconsistencies in their claims about the couple's property. However, they soon discovered that there were no signs of forced entry or suspicious activity on the night of the attack. The detective even asked the neighbor to search his home and yard, but he was unable to find anything out of the ordinary. As the trial for Cynthia began, the community came together once again, this time more united than ever before in their call for justice. They rallied around the couple's security cameras, demanding that they be used as evidence to hold those responsible accountable for inciting violence and racism in their community. The judge ordered a retrial of the case, with both parties presenting new evidence and witnesses. The jury ultimately found Cynthia guilty on all charges, and she was sentenced to prison. As news outlets covered this significant development, more people began to realize that racial inequalities in society still existed, but now they were taking concrete steps towards addressing them. The couple's security cameras became a symbol of hope for those who had been victims of discrimination and violence due to technology's role in fostering division and fear. They used their platform as witnesses to shine light on the injustices faced by marginalized individuals and inspire others to fight against racism head-on. As they continued to monitor their neighbor's home from afar, the couple could now rest easy knowing that her actions had brought justice for them and countless others like them who had been affected by false 911 calls and racist tirades. They knew that technology was no longer a tool of oppression, but rather a powerful force for creating positive change in our society.